Alright guys, so this is going to be my first ever comic book haul video here on YouTube. And I just want to say that hopefully you guys are staying safe, and when you're out there hunting, hopefully y'all are finding the stuff that y'all want. Because around here, man, it is tough. I literally have to travel at least 20 miles out just to find a decent comic book store that's open and that has a decent selection. So this one's going to consist of 3 stores for over the weekend because it was my birthday and I decided to take a trip out there. And most of these books are going to consist of dollar books. So hopefully you guys are at least interested in some of the stuff I picked up. And I want to start off with DC versus Marvel Comics #1. It's not in the best condition. It's got a couple of spine ticks, and what I've come to realize is that if you manage to pick up one of these DC Universe logo variants, then that makes it a pretty rare book because nobody actually knows the print run on these, so they're kind of hard to find out in the wild. And I managed to find this one. And when I was going through that store, the first one, they had the entire 4-part miniseries of this. And I managed to also find #4, which is in a much better condition than #1, and it also happens to be a DC Universe logo variant. And these books command $10 to $15 an issue, so hey. And then onto that, I managed to find another DC Universe logo variant, Superman #89, which that one doesn't hold a lot of significance. It's just a variant, so I can't be too mad at that. And then I also managed to find Justice League of America #203. Now this one, it could be debated with the Key Collector app on what the true first appearance of the Royal Flush Gang is, because on the app this is considered the first modern appearance of the Royal Flush Gang. The ones that you caught on the Justice League cartoon and Batman Beyond. But I also happen to have an earlier issue that also happens to contain an appearance of the Royal Flush Gang, but apparently this is the most modern one that has King, Queen, Jack, 10, and Ace in their own suit. But there's a debated appearance on Ace, which happens to appear in the Joker miniseries from the 70s. But hey, it's Justice League and it's a debated first appearance of a character, so there's not much fighting that. And then I also happen to pick up Superman #1 after the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and this just so happens to be the first modern appearance of Metallo in the modern age. And I also managed to find this cool Darkseid cover in Superman #3. And for y'all that are curious about the Snyder Cut, apparently he's going to make an appearance in that. So, this is like a nice little pickup. But I also happen to find a second copy, and this one happens to be a newsstand and a direct edition. And this one's kind of a Suicide Squad pickup from the movie, and it also happens to be the next issue in this series, Superman #4, the first appearance of Bloodsport, and he's going to be played by Idris Elba in the new movie. So, and it's already going for $20 online, so picking that up for $1, you get no complaints from me. And then on staying with the topic of the movies, I happen to pick up Action Comics #689, the first appearance of Superman in the black suit. And apparently that's going to be a big role in the Snyder Cut. And I managed to pick up 2 of those, one newsstand and one direct edition. And yet on top of that, I managed to find Brave New World #1, the 80-page special. Supposedly this is the first appearance of Ryan Choi, the new Atom. who's also going to be appearing in the Snyder Cut. I really don't know how much this book goes for, but right now online it's commanding anywhere from $10 to $15. And then on top of that, I managed to find a showcase number 95, number 8, to the first appearance of Mongal as a baby, and she's gonna appear in the James Gunn Suicide Squad movie, but this one doesn't really hold a lot of value right now. And you can just ignore the little price sticker because I didn't pay anywhere near $3. I just paid $1 for that. And then I happened to find a Batman number 21, the first appearance of Duke Thomas. And surprisingly, for the Bat family members, this character hasn't really seemed to be taken off. Like, he just pretty much faded into the background after that little mini series at the start of Rebirth. But for $1, who's gonna complain? And then this one has been picking up steam as of late. Batman number 28, first appearance of Bluebird, who's gonna reportedly make an appearance in James Tynion's new book. And yeah. And since Marvel just happened to pick up the rights to Aliens and Predator, I managed to find Batman vs. Predator number 2, the Prestige format. So I didn't get this one for $1, even though I tried to talk him down, because he said, like, with the everything going on, like, the minimum he can do is $3, and since this is going out of print, I can't fight that. And then I recently heard the news that Comedy Central was going to be rebooting some of the raunchy cartoons from the early 90s, starting with Ren and Stimpy. And I managed to find a copy of issue number 1. Yeah, it's opened, but I also happened to find another copy in the polybag unopened for $1. And then lastly, at this store, I managed to pick up a Star Wars Vader's Quest number 1. Like, nothing too significant about this. I just like the cover, you know. So after that little trip, I managed to travel down south about 10 miles to another comic book store. And when I called them on the phone on my way there, they said that unless it's up on the wall, every back issue is going to be $1. I'm like, hey, as a birthday gift, that works out for me. So when I got there, I started digging through there, and then I managed to find from the new series Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 5, the cover A. And honestly, I haven't been reading too much of the modern TMNT, but I've been hearing that it's really good, like with the introduction of new turtles and then a new story. And then when I came across this, somebody told me that issue number 5 is kind of one of the harder to find ones because they were not in circulation too much and it had a low print run. But yeah, I had other people telling me that that's a common issue, but apparently cover B is more common than cover A as this one is. So I'm like, hey, why not? And in this one, Superman number 123, the glow in the dark variant. Supposedly this is the first appearance of the electric blue Superman. I'm like, well, why not? And then on top of bringing back stuff from the 90s, ever since Batman The Adventures Continue by Paul Dini, it like started to sell out. Like every time I make a trip to the comic book store, like all the original series from Superman Adventures, Batman Adventures, and like all those tie-in comics from the 90s have been drying up and they're like getting harder and harder to find out in the wild. But I did manage to find a Batman Adventures number 20, and it's a bullet logo variant. Not too significant, but if they're getting harder to find, at least I found one. And then I also managed to find a Superman Adventures number 2. Not much to say there. except I wish it would have been a number 3. I believe that's the first appearance of Livewire in comics. So, she hasn't gotten anywhere near as Harley Quinn or Batman Beyond as of late, but having an early appearance from a cartoon original just doesn't hurt. And the next one, this is a variant from Rebirth, Deathstroke number 19. Like, going online and seeing that this book goes for $20, like, I don't really see why, but supposedly this is where he gets his new suit because he absorbs the power of the Speed Force, which gives him super speed. I'm like, just giving new characters somebody else's powers isn't really my thing, but it could make for interesting stories. But for $1, who's going to complain? Now this one, the much debated first appearance of Jessica Cruz, like, it commands anywhere from $20 to $30 online, but this is like a crapshoot. Like, most people tend to think that her first appearance is in Justice League 30 and even debated on 31 because that's when she gets her new powers. And this one just basically shows her hand and she's not even named or shown. And it's considered a first appearance and it goes for that much. I'm like, okay. And then next, Blue Beetle number 3. It's gonna be a character that's coming up in Suicide Squad. Don't really know who, but this book is already going for $15. Even though the price sticker says 3, I only paid $1. So yeah, I guess. And next up, from Rebirth, Nightwing number 29. This is what I think could be the Batman Who Laughs third or fourth appearance, which in my book is a good thing because I already own 2 Teen Titans number 12, his first appearance. But depending, I'm not quite sure on the timeline, but Teen Titans 12 is considered his first appearance, and then you can choose between Suicide Squad, Green Arrow, and Nightwing. And, you know, basically having the whole collection now and then having a second copy of his third or fourth appearance, oh, that can't hurt. And then next, I managed to find an Iron Man number 284. I think this is the first appearance of James Rhodes, but that's before he becomes War Machine. And then I happened to find another copy of Brave New World, first Ryan Choi. And then I happened to find a Showcase 94 number 9, another DC Universe logo variant. And then on going back to how Marvel now owns the rights to Aliens and Predator, I managed to find Batman vs. Predator 3 number 1. And I thought that was a pretty nice pickup, considering that those books are hitting $60-$70 online. But out of print with DC, that can't hurt either. Now, after that store, I managed to drive a long ways down, uh, basically back to where I live, but all the way on the east side. And like, I happened to come across the store, and they were having a sale, like a Labor Day sale, where all the books were 50% off. But like, once you reach like the back room, like, this place was just scattered. And then when I got back there, the owner of the store said, well, yeah, most of the books are going to be 50% off, but most of them aren't because we just brought in a new collection and I haven't been able to go through them. And I'm like, just staring at everything. Everything's just so scattered. I'm like, so what is on sale or what isn't? And he goes, oh, well, most of the stuff that's in the filing cabinet's already sorted. Everything on the tables, on the floor hasn't been processed. So I was like, you never know what you could find here. But I didn't want to spend all day going through it, just basically doing that guy's job. and then handing them books. But I managed to go through some of the unsorted stuff and some in the filing cabinet that were on sale. So I managed to find this one, Venom, Along Came a Spider #1. That was in one of the unprocessed boxes. And originally they wanted a price of $10, but I said, "Hey, well, aren't y'all having a 50% off sale?" And he goes, "Oh yeah, okay, well, I'll give you $5 for it." I'm like, "All right." And then this one was $1. The original price on it was $3. It's Excalibur #96, the first appearance of the new Hellfire Club. And this one, Aquaman #1, it's pretty beat up, but it's a DC Universe logo variant. $1. Supergirl #2. I'm not sure if this is from the third or fourth series. Like nothing too special, just another DC Universe logo variant. And I managed to find some Silver Age, like really beat up, and it has a price tag of $2, but I only managed to pay $1 for it. And since we're in September and we're only like a month away from Halloween and I'm already getting in the spirit, I managed to find this in the unprocessed box. Like Nightmares on Elm Street #1. Like I really have no idea what that book goes for, but every time you go online, people are asking anywhere from $20 to $60. And when I went up to the register, the lady originally, the cashier wanted to charge me $20 for it, and then I said, "Well, what about the 50% off again?" And goes, "Okay, 10." I'm like, "Can you do 5?" And then she was like, you know what? Since you are on our guest list, and it just so happens to be your birthday, I can do it for 5. I'm like, hey, you know what? That actually works out. But what I didn't realize is that when she didn't check the book properly, this picture of this guy fell out. So, like, not to put him on blast, but apparently these books belonged to him when he sold them to the store for the collection. So, if this is you, man, like, hey, thanks for giving your books out and letting the books find a new home. So, hey, thanks for that, man. But yeah, that's gonna be it for today, guys, and hopefully there's something here that you enjoyed and maybe you can go out and find. So, stay safe and happy hunting, guys.